Well, hello friends. Welcome to the SerenityOS update for May 2023. This month, I'm trying a new thing where the browser stack has its own update video. That came out yesterday on this channel if you haven't seen it already. But today, we're going to look at everything that isn't the browser in SerenityOS. And as usual, it's been a lovely month in the project. And as usual, there were around 1,100 commits, which seems to be the magic number right now for some reason. But we have a nice collection of things to look at today, so why don't we get started?
Thank you, Andreas, and well, hello, friends. I'd like to start off with showing you something that we already had but was broken and was now massively improved by Quiva. SpiceAgent is an agent software that we have in Serenity that is able to talk the Spice protocol, which is basically a system for hosting guest VMs to interact with each other. And what they did was basically rebuild SpiceAgent from the ground up to, again, support all these features and add new features to interact between the guest system, in this case Serenity, and the host system, in this case my machine. So what can we do with that? Well, let me show you. A very, very handy thing is to be able to take a file from your host system, like this file, this image I have right here, and just drag and drop that to Serenity. And as soon as you've done so, the file manager window pops up and you can see that the file has been transferred to Serenity. This makes it incredibly easy to transfer files one way or the other. And another thing that we already had but was fixed is clipboard sharing. And clipboard sharing basically means that you can take, let's take this for example, let's copy this. And I can go to my host system, and if I press paste here, you can see that it copied and pasted the text from the Serenity guest system to my host system. Very awesome work. Then let's take a look at PixelPaint. PixelPaint has seen a number of smaller improvements this month, mainly in the tools section. Tim has worked on the lasso tool, and the lasso tool has received a crosshair cursor. And when you select outside of the image boundaries, Tim has made sure that you only select the pixels within the image boundaries. Also, there were some improvements to dealing with the active layer versus other layers in the image. So thank you. Benjamin has improved the gradient tool, especially with the tool properties. When you select radial, you now get a hardness slider and value field. So you can, for example, if I were to draw a gradient here, a nice neat little black gradient like that, I can use both the slider to change the hardness of the gradient, or I can change the value right there and apply it. Neat. Very nice work. Thank you, Benjamin. Something I worked on this month is a new image scaling algorithm inside libgraphics. In Serenity, we have a number of image scaling algorithms, and what we usually use for images to scale up or scale down is bilinear filtering. How bilinear filtering works is that we take an image, and when we upscale it, for example, we take the average of 4 source pixels based on the distance of the target pixel between those 4 source pixels. And this works reasonably well. It looks nice, it looks smooth. When you zoom out or when you downscale an image, it also looks pretty nice. But when you downscale too much like this, you can see it become pixelated again. And this happens because we select those 4 pixels based on the target pixel, which would mean in this case that a lot of those pixels would be either in the blue part here or in the white part, but not a lot of those 4 source pixels would actually lie on the edge here of these letters. So it becomes pixelated, and the way to correctly average out those pixels is to take an entire block of source pixels and average all those pixels together. And that's called box sampling. And you can see it improves the quality of the downsized image a lot. So this is bilinear and this is box sampling. And we now use this new algorithm in a couple of places, and browser makes sure to use this automatically when you have an image. It detects whether you upscale it or downscale it, and then selects the right algorithm based on that. And finally, a new port I wanted to show you. Mike has added ChocolateDoom. And ChocolateDoom is a Doom port that tries to be as vanilla as possible to the authentic Doom experience on PC in the 90s. So no new filters, no enhancements. It's just Doom as you would have played it in the past. And as you can see, this runs very nicely. So thank you, Mike, for that. That was it for me. Back to you, Andreas.
Thank you, Jelle. So today I have a whole bunch of command line stuff to show you. So we'll start with errno, which is a command we have for querying different errno values. So if you're wondering like what is errno value 19, it can tell you that is enodev or no such device. And this month Sam added lookup by the enum name, so you can search for like einval or efault. To get the number and full text description of an error by name. And that's pretty nice because it's one of those things that's always kind of a hassle to look up. So thank you, Sam, for doing that. Another thing on the command line is LZMA compression. So Tim Schumacher has been busy implementing LZMA decompression recently, and now he went and also did compression, so we can actually compress with LZMA. And I think he even hooked it up to tar. So if I wanted to make a tarball of like my source directory, for example, then I could do this, which would just be a regular tarball. But I think I can also pass LZMA and it will make an LZMA file. And it does. Look at that. Look how compressed that thing is. Let's see if we can actually recognize it with file. Not quite, but can we decompress it? Oh, we don't support that syntax. Oh, we should fix that. But yeah, we can totally untar it. So LZMA compression by Tim, super awesome to have. Kind of surprised that it happened so fast, but really impressive. So thank you, Tim. And other stuff on the command line. There have been a whole bunch of changes from Tim Ledbetter in particular. Tim has just been going ham on adding command line options to various commands based on what POSIX tells us to do in the specification. So I know he's worked on like pgrep now has like all these flags like X and U, L list name. And I guess let's try it. So like pgrep-l terminal. So that prints the name of the process in addition to just the PID, because normally we would just get the PID, right? Yeah. And I think Tim, not only did he add a bunch of options to everything, but he also went and added manual pages for a ton of commands. And that is pretty sweet. So the man page library just keeps growing, or it's really more of a documentation library, but they double as man pages because you can also do this, of course, and it's the same exact source. Tim also, by the way, worked on the help application a bit. I know that he improved search so that I think you can fuzzy match now. So say that I wanted to look for profiler, but I spell a bit bad. So I say prefiler. That didn't quite work. Perfiler. Okay, that worked. Okay, well, that just goes to show that you can't spell as badly as I do, but perfiler was fine. So yeah, there's a new scoring system in the search proxy model and the filter proxy model. So the scoring system that allows us to bubble up the what we believe to be the most relevant search results when you do something like that. Analog Kulk, yeah, that's kind of cool. And I guess we could make it even more sophisticated to let me spell really badly as well. But Tim did all of that, so big shout outs to Tim. Oh man, we got a lot of different commands, not just pgrep. We also have pidof, which is I guess like a sibling command of pgrep. So pidof terminal. What can we do with that? We can say -s separator to separate multiple PIDs. I guess then I would need 2 terminals if I want that to be interesting. So look at that. I can decide on my very own separator. Seems like something that could come in handy sometimes. And Tim also worked on ping. So I'm seeing a bunch of different patches for ping. I know that ping-I think was added. I want to say Q as well. So Q is quiet mode, where you can say like ping q google.com, and then it doesn't print out anything while it's going. But when you stop it, it gives you like the little statistics at the end. And -I guess, is the interval between each packet. So normally it's 1 per second, but I'm guessing we could say something shorter. Look at that. We can be hackers and ping flood Google, which I'm sure they care about. I wonder how fast you can go. Oh, you can't say 0. I guess that's a reasonable thing. I think on other Unixes you can do like ping-f to flood ping, but maybe only root is allowed to do it or something like that. Okay, well I can go pretty fast. But anyway, thank you, Tim Ledbetter, for adding ping options like that. And we're just going to go through a bunch of different things that Tim has been doing. So some other stuff is the top command now has -p, also Tim, which lets you filter by PID. So you could say, I guess, pgrep terminal. No, that's not how that works. Oh, a comma separated list. Oh, well, then I need that separator thing. Aha. Look at that. Synergy between the commands. How very Unix. Yeah, so now we're seeing only those 2 PIDs. That's pretty cool. Thank you, Tim, for adding that. And we got the W command, which is one of my old favorite Unix commands from back in the day when we would log into machines and run W to see who else was logged in, and maybe we could talk to each other. Usually I don't see any other people logged into my Serenity machine, but one day. But anyway, the W command this month gained the -h option, so it omits the header. And I think normally you would get this header right here, but -h and you don't get it. And you can also filter by user now, I think. So if let's see, how can I make I don't even know how I could log into somebody else here in a way that would show up. Shell. Can I run a terminal? I cannot. Okay, I got a root terminal. There we go. So now I can check my own entries with anon, and I can also look at root. So that's pretty sweet. Thank you again, Tim, for implementing that. What else? I think maybe we should look at something somebody else did. So let me see if I can scale that up a little bit. Kleines this month did in place sed, which is another sweet command line thing. So sed, normally you are editing streams, right? Sed is stream editor. But you can also edit files in place. So say that I wanted to change the name of SerenityOS in the README to Super SerenityOS, then I could do sed-i, SerenityOS, Super SerenityOS. And actually, maybe I have to put that here. Oh, not quite. Unknown function command R. Okay, what what is the syntax? In place. In place. Do I have to put it at the end then? Wait, no, that didn't make any sense. Wait, it has to come before that. Okay, there we go. Now, did it work? I wonder. Let's open it up in TextEditor and we'll find out. Hey, look at that. Super SerenityOS. Okay, it worked. Super SerenityOS is licensed under a 2-clause Super BSD license. Cool. All right. So thank you, Klinus, for implementing in-place sed. That's really nice. By the way, now that we've been in the shell here a bunch, I also saw a whole bunch of POSIX shell compliance fixes. And that's something Ali has been working on, which I don't exactly know how to demo, but it is really sweet that we have a POSIX mode for the shell. And you can run shell -- POSIX, and it should give you something that's compatible with the Bourne shell, basically. Hello. Look at that. Bourne shell. Now, how do I get out? Okay, we got out. That's really awesome because it will hopefully eventually let us run all kinds of shell scripts that we get from third-party sources, which were not compatible with our own shell language. So I'm really, really happy to see progress being made on spec compliance in the POSIX shell. So thank you, Ali, for putting time and love into that. All right. Oh, by the way, I was opening the Markdown file, but I forgot to mention something because notice here that this is actually bold. This month, Mache added some very basic Markdown syntax highlighting. So yeah, you can see here it's detected that this is a Markdown file. For some reason, the preview is not loading currently. Wonder what that's about. Oh, okay, just was a little glitch there. Yeah, so thank you, Mache, for starting work on Markdown syntax highlighting. I think we have a bunch of things missing that we need to improve, but now there's a library in place for it, so we can continue working from there. All right, some GUI tweaks that happened this month, minor, but things I really appreciate when people do is polish. So the HexEditor app now has recently opened files. So if you open files in HexEditor, then they will be available as recently opened files next time you open the app and you want to see the same file again. Cha-ching! That is very nice. And I think that was Quiva who added that, so thank you, Quiva. And another app that got some polish was FontEditor, which I admit I never use recently myself because I've been using vector fonts a lot, but a lot of people still use the bitmap fonts, and of course then FontEditor is the place to be. So FontEditor now has the recently open files mechanism, and I think Thank You Very Cool did that, and Thank You Very Cool also did a couple of other things in FontEditor, including undo redo action text. So if we do something here, like I would ruin this glyph by making it look totally wrong, then there should be undo paint glyph instead of just undo. So I can undo these steps here one by one. And you see that it says undo redo paint glyph. And I guess it would also, if I do another action like move the glyph, yeah, it says undo move glyph. So that is really nice. It's a subtle thing, but I really love just that feeling of extra polish that the UI tells you what you would be undoing instead of just an opaque undo. So thank you very cool, very cool. Okay. Oh, something that is pretty rad this month, which I have mixed feelings about, but let me show you to you anyway. So Chess now supports running with the Stockfish engine. If you have a Stockfish installed as a port, we will detect that and offer it as an engine option in Chess. And then you can play against Stockfish instead of our slightly lobotomized own Chess engine. I can beat Chess engine. I cannot beat Stockfish. So I have, mixed feelings about it, but I'm sure that if we surfaced some more parameters, it might be possible to, hamstring Stockfish a bit, maybe give it a millisecond or two to think, not too much. We'll see. But this was another Tim Ledbetter thing. I think Tim Ledbetter did both the Stockfish port and then also adding it as an option in Chess. So thank you, Tim, for all of these awesome things that you've been doing. Really, really sweet. All right. The last thing that I wanted to mention, which I forgot, which is another command line thing, is more options. The PS command was pretty bare bones before, didn't have a whole lot of things. This month, Sam, not Tim, but Sam went and added a couple of new ones. So I think these are all POSIX specification things, so like PS-U, for example. And you can say which users you want to see the processes of. And then there's a bunch of, I don't even know what all of these are. There's like -A, every process associated with terminals. It's kind of an interesting one. I didn't even know that was a thing, but undeniably interesting. Processes with a matching PID. And here you can even supply a comma or space separated list. So what if we did PS-Q pidof-S, comma, terminal. Let me add my own there. Hey, look at that. That's cool. So we can make our very own PS, pgrep, or pidof combination mechanism. Wonder if PS is supposed to have an option where you specify like a regex for the process name. I don't know. Anyways, these were all of the command line things I wanted to show you today. But honorable mention, because something I forgot about in my browser video yesterday was mentioning that Tim Flynn has been doing a bunch of awesome work on unifying the browser implementations for the cross-platform version of Ladybird and the SerenityOS version of Ladybird. And we have a bunch of code that is specific to either platform, but the amount of platform-specific code is shrinking, not growing, which is really, really nice. And Tim took a big chunk this month, and we're reducing the delta. I think we have less than 4,000 lines in the cross-platform Qt version, and I'm always happy to see that shrink. Oh, I almost forgot. This month, we've also seen great development in JPEG support from Lucas, and fantastic development in the WebP department, because we now also support lossy WebPs. Last month, we talked about lossless WebP, which Nico had implemented. This month, we have lossy WebP as well. And I think we can go here and see, maybe, see some lossy WebPs. Now, this is the lossless and alpha gallery. Oh man, I went to the wrong gallery. I think. It's not the fastest loading site, but if you look at these things right here, they are, what are they? They should be lossy. Which means that they are compressed, and compared to JPEG, you can see here that they compress quite well compared to JPEG. And last month we could not display these images at all, but this month Nico has implemented enough that we can handle a bunch of these cool Lossy WebPs. So it's a format that's being used more and more on the web. So now we're starting to see more and more images that were missing before. So thank you very much, Nico, for implementing the WebP format. I know it was not easy. So it's always great to see somebody doing something not easy. Anyways, I'm really happy with all of the people taking on these non-easy things. And that's all the things that we had to show you today. Thank you so much for stopping by and keeping up to date with the project. Huge thank you to my co-hosts. If you want to come chat with the SerenityOS developers, you'll find most of us hanging out on the SerenityOS Discord. There is a link to that in the description. If you would like to sponsor development of SerenityOS, there are links for that in the description as well. I'm personally working on this full-time since May of 2021, thanks to the generous support of many of you. And it's the best job I've ever had, so thank you all for helping me do this. All right, that's it for today. I will see you all next time. Bye.